So Unreal and Unity are part of our vision for making everyone a VR creator. But there's another big initiative that I wanted to talk about this morning. To date, VR development has really been primarily focused on native apps. And native apps are going to continue to push the boundaries of performance, fidelity, and immersion. But there's another content ecosystem that we think is super important. And it's a content ecosystem of simple VR experiences that are based on web technology and are accessed via a web browser. You can think of this ecosystem as the VR web, and it's going to be huge for a number of reasons. First, the VR web is going to be one of the easiest ways to develop and share your content. With a few lines of JavaScript, you can create a VR experience and instantly share it with anyone in the world. No installs, no long downloads. And because your content can be accessed through a browser, your reach isn't going to be limited to just people with VR devices. Your audience includes anyone with a laptop or a phone. This is going to ultimately lead to an exponential growth in the amount of VR content that's out there. And everyone in the future is going to have their own VR destination on the web. So I want to give you guys sort of a sense of the sorts of experiences that you can build today with this technology. It is still early days, but we've got two demos for you to share. So both of these experiences are built on WebVR, which is an evolving industry standard that interfaces VR systems with browsers. Let's take a look. So first up, we've got a demo that lets you, I'll move over here, lets you check out hotels using 360-degree photospheres. These photospheres were given to us by Oyster.com. And what you can see is that we can embed all sorts of contextual information in the scene. Restaurant reviews, menus. This is extremely easy to build. This demo you can imagine building in just a few days, actually. So let's take a look at something a little bit flashier, something that feels a little bit more VR. This is a car configurator built by Renault in partnership with Little Workshop. So you can imagine receiving a URL, hitting that link, and instantly being teleported inside this car. This is a really neat demo. You can actually configure the car live and see it. And this can all run at 90 FPS on Rift. So this is going to be big. And we want to talk about a few of the ways that we're going to help you guys build WebVR content. So first, we're working on a new framework that makes it really easy to create these sorts of VR experiences for VR browsers. This new framework is called React VR. So React is built on the foundation, React VR is built on the foundations of React, which is one of the most popular web and mobile app frameworks that's available today. And it lets web developers create these simple web VR experiences really, really easily. And again, publish and share them to the world. Now the question becomes, how are you guys going to access this new frontier of web content? Well, I'm excited to announce that Oculus is developing a VR browser, codenamed Carmel. Carmel runs on any Oculus device. It's highly integrated with our tech stack, and it's fully optimized and designed for VR. We're going to be releasing a developer preview for Carmel very soon, and React alongside it. I personally believe this is the beginning of something really, really big.
Stage. WebVR enables web developers to build fantastic cross-platform, cross-device VR experiences. Here's a quick overview of what WebVR is all about and an introduction to our recently released WebVR experiment site.
VR should be accessible to everyone because it has the potential to let everyone explore, play, and create in amazing new ways. But right now, VR is pretty complicated. To make awesome VR stuff, developers might have to learn a new language, and then spend a bunch more time to make that stuff work on multiple headsets. And then when we want to play with their awesome VR stuff, we've got to have the right headset. VR should be easier, so developers can make something quickly and share it with everyone, no matter what device they're on. Kind of like how easy it is to share stuff on the web, but with VR. Well, that's the idea behind WebVR. It's VR on the web, for everyone. Here's how it works. Say you're in a browser like Chrome, and you come across a WebVR experience. You just tap the link, put on a headset, and boom, you're in VR. Developers can build WebVR things the same way they build web things, with JavaScript. And since it all works in a browser, it's easy to make it work for all kinds of VR devices, whether it's someone using their phone, their computer, or their entire room. Developers are already building and sharing awesome stuff with WebVR. We've started showcasing their work on a site called WebVR Experiments. It gives you a glimpse into the kind of stuff that's possible. You can play simple games, see the world in a new way, explore interactive stories, play with a friend, or lots of friends. Each experiment comes with open source code to help others make new experiments, and developers can submit what they make. All of this is an effort to make VR more accessible, so anyone can build and everyone can play with awesome VR stuff. So come and start playing at webvrexperiments.com.
I want to tell you why we at Google care about WebVR and why we're investing in it. As Clay Bavor said in the keynote yesterday, immersive computing is going to change how we play, work, live, and learn. We're at the start of the next computing revolution. Many of you have seen the technology adoption curve before. 2017 is shaping up to be a pivotal year for VR, where it's moving beyond innovators to early adopters. This is a time of opportunity. However, one of the largest barriers to even broader VR adoption and more user engagement today is content. Content is absolutely critical to the success of any new ecosystem. Giving users great, diverse, and plentiful things to choose from will keep them coming back. I believe that the open web is exactly what virtual reality needs to take it to the next level, and WebVR is the first step along that path. WebVR opens up VR to the largest developer platform in the world. You, web developers. You can build for VR for the first time. The web's an open ecosystem that we at Google strongly believe in and support, where developers from around the world work together to innovate in a standardized, interoperable way. The web isn't controlled by any one company, and it's unique in providing access to content from any device through any web browser. There are no walled gardens here. What this means is that WebVR simultaneously decreases the barrier to entry and extends the reach of your content. Using WebVR, you can start developing for VR with gradual investments by progressively enhancing your existing websites. You can light up your site with VR when an immersive experience adds something special, from breaking 360 news on the ground to exploring your next home. With WebVR, you can build your experience just once to reach all VR headsets and the billions of mobile and desktop users, giving you access to the broadest audience possible. And you gain all the benefits of the web by making your content searchable, linkable, and low friction with no installation required. Sharing is as easy as a link. So the potential of VR goes well beyond gaming. What kinds of VR content just makes sense to do with WebVR? Your imagination's the limit, though I believe the first wave of WebVR content will be the use cases that are already first and best on the web. Ephemeral content found primarily through search and social media, short-form media content, and important but perhaps less frequent tasks where you may just not want to keep an app around. So let's take a look at some of the things that others are already doing with WebVR. Matterport has created technology that allows capturing real-world spaces in 3D to view them virtually for industries such as real estate, travel and hospitality, and architecture, engineering, and construction. Matterport customers like Sotheby's, Home Visit, and Mansion Global have scanned nearly 500,000 places and make these available to their users with Matterport's web player. The web player lets the user navigate through the 3D virtual space on their phone or desktop. Before WebVR, users were required to download a separate app to view the full VR experience. This created a lot of friction and resulted in significant user drop-off. But now with WebVR, this friction has been eliminated. The user can step right into the home they are looking at directly from the website. And when the user exits VR, they're still on the original website rather than in a separate app.